So, today I want to talk to you about one very, very specific topic that people are lost. This is especially true for the generations of 30 years old, and this topic is clearly connected with such a special branch of knowledge, ignorance of which gives rise to a lot of life problems. In Christianity, for example, there is such an interesting concept about the inner man. The Apostle Paul talks about the inner man, and then, one way or another, this topic slips through. What is meant here? There is an outer man who is born, grows, gains strength, becomes smarter, then grows old, and in the end dies, decays and dies. And there is an inner man. This can be called an immortal soul, a certain center of personality. The inner man is what makes us individual, different from others. Because, look, even twins, triplets, quintuplets, septuplets, etc., despite their outward similarity, they are completely different people. This difference is provided by the self. The self is the inner man. When it comes to an outer man, people were shown a beautiful picture. The picture that we see in advertisements. That is, the right person is a person who lives the way we are shown in the advertisement. Advertisements, they are clearly the fairy tales for adults. Notice how much children like watching advertisements. They know that children have their own fairy tales, but these are fairy tales for adults. A two-story house, happy family, dad, mom, 2 children, a dog, a cat, 2 bright, beautiful cars, an interesting job, good clothes, a fully furnished house, and everyone is going somewhere on a picnic, vacation, or yacht, some sport achievements, or you're such beauty, everyone around you falls in love with your beauty, and you walk through life with this bottle of juice or coffee or perfume, and it's all very good and beautiful, don't get me wrong, but as you can easily understand from the point of the view of the priority of the external and internal man, in this situation the emphasis is on the external man, because a person who has good perfume, a car, a house, a family, and so on, is all an external person. And what happens here? These people, and not only them, people of other generations are also affected by this. We perhaps at 30 plus or minus are presented in the most complete way. But such people lack one thing, something that is very, very important. People do not understand why they live and what for. And what is even worse is that people do not understand that such questions still need to be asked. Whether you like it or not, it turns out that usually people have no idea about the topic and they find themselves completely lost. This usually happens after 1 or 2 serious illnesses, 1 or 2 serious personal failures, some divorces or something else, and all this makes them think. But thinking about this topic is something unusual, and they don't know how to do that. And as Freud said, my patients are divided into 2 categories. The first are those who don't have an apartment, a car, a family, and so on, and they suffer terribly from this. But this is easy to figure out, more or less possible. And the second group of patients are those who have all this, but they're not happy. This is what is really difficult. And so they come to Freud one after another, and he tells them that the time has come. It's time to work on the inner man. So were you born for reason? Are you materialist or non-materialist, atheist, believers? You must understand that even if there is no God, from your point of view, let's take this situation. There is some purpose to live. Life is not completely meaningless, because even small moments, small events are filled with meaning. There is meaning in waking up, there is meaning in communicating with children, with friends, with people, and so on. This means that if there are many small meanings, then there is probably a big meaning that unites all of this. And in this big, huge world that is moving somewhere at an incredible speed, you have a purpose. Unfortunately, a person is not given instructions at the moment of birth. He doesn't know how to treat himself, his body. He has to learn all this. And this is done specifically so that a person has as much free will as possible, so that he can choose. At the same time, a person has internal guidelines. These internal guidelines are directly related to what we need to do in this life, or what we need to understand in this life, in order to move the entire universe, the entire evolution in a certain direction. And these guidelines come to us through dreams, thoughts, our internal expectations, our preferences, our desires, our wants, etc. So that the news is that not all of our internal dreams, desires, preferences, and wants are ours and our internal. They can be not ours, they can be external. Or they can be ours but external, relating to our external man. And they certainly must be satisfied. A person must be provided with a certain level of comfort, a car, an apartment, financial security, the opportunity to do what he wants to do. But despite everything, this, as it turns out, is completely insufficient. And a typical 30 years old looks like this: a respectable looking young man or woman in good clothes, driving a car, working at a good job, but inside him there is a 4-year-old, confused child, to whom parents do not pay attention. They preoccupied with something incomprehensible and with their own concerns. And in one hand we have a toy, in one hand a lollipop, and this child is left to his own devices in a huge cold world, even if this world is a cozy apartment that smells like hot chocolate. And this difference between 30-year-old and the 6-year-old gives rise to many specific nuances. Well, the time has come. It's time to raise a 6-year-old inner child. First bring it to 30 years, then you can bring it to 70, to 170, and so on, so that now it's wise, subtle, and you still will be a young person who, however, acts wisely, very technically in this world. Fortunately, the inner man never ages, and he just can become smarter, wiser, more mature, more technical, more talented. And this means that when you make any life decisions, you should focus not so much on external circumstances, although, of course, they should also be taken into account, but you should focus on what the inner man wants from you. We're talking about restructuring your lifestyle, because everything in the end comes down to your lifestyle. You need to live the way your inner man wants, regardless of the logic of these desires, from the point of view of your outer man. They cannot directly contradict each other. For example, require you to change your profession, change your lifestyle as soon as possible, drastically. So you need to understand that the most characteristic feature of such people who have an undeveloped inner man and an overgrown outer man is that they do not take themselves seriously. For them, their dreams, their secret desires, their preferences is so and so on are something so non-important, something additional, something impossible, and they need to deal with their outer life, build all this and that. It turns out in the end that the moment comes when the world turns upside down, and it becomes clear that even having built everything external without having an internal, without having internal agreement with your inner man, with yourself, everything external is instantly devalued. Problem is not that these things are taken away from you. No, I mean external goods. Economic crisis, you're left without an apartment, without mortgage, without a car. Like me, left without everything because of the war. It's easy level. It happens, but it's not that bad actually. The problem is when you have all this, but it's all internally devalued. In the morning I drink coffee, no pleasure. It no longer makes me happy. I'm wandering like damned prince in the fairy tale Beauty and the Beast through huge palace, but there is no happiness, nothing, no satisfaction, no understanding, no peace, no interest, nothing. Depression. Somehow all this is poisoned from within. In this case, if this case is neglected gradually, it will also descend on the physical state. That is, you will begin to get some diseases from nowhere. Strange diseases appear and they disappear somewhere again and again and again. All these are signs that you are living someone else's life, not yours. And in the end, when we stand in the front of God, well, we will not take our advisors, friends, parents, children, partners, no one. We will stand alone, looking into the eyes of God. He will ask you, I gave you, my dear, certain set of mental and physical potentials. And what did you spend them on? On other people's dreams, on the external material things. Well, you chased after this model of car, I like Porsche, for example, and in 5 years, the model of the car is already outdated. If you spend your entire unique life simply changing brands or cars or places where you go on vacation, then this, of course, it's all very well and this is how it should be. A person must have financially security. But the question is, what did you really live for? What for? And my message is quite simple here. Just develop your inner man. You just need to start taking yourself seriously. Taking your desires, your dreams, your aspirations, your hopes seriously. And start working on them, step by step. You see, take yourself much more seriously and put some effort. That's it. Because these treasures lie in the depth of your heart, of you. All Christians know, and all decent people of European culture, they know that God should not be thought within the atmosphere or in charge. God, it's in your heart, and in order to get to Him, you have to listen carefully to yourself, this very inner man, and choose for yourself. Set serious internal tasks for yourself. These internal tasks are encoded in your dreams, hopes, and aspirations. I repeat once again, turn your gaze inward and catch up with yourself externally, or build your internal self with the help of external development. It could be easier for the start, for example, to go far, to develop as an external person, to achieve something. This also includes the development of your internal self. My message is that you should turn your thoughts into depth of your heart, of yourself, because the situation is quite serious. From what I see now, in individual and collective psyche, and it will be worse. These years, they're super difficult. The times, they're changing rapidly. So without good internal support and a strong core, no external projects will work either. This is very important for those who look at the external world and encounter external circumstances with your internal values, with your internal eyes. If someone stands there calmly, confidently, in a relaxed pose and smiles slightly, knowing that he can handle any situation, then you can go any external project and any external battle. But if your outer armor, super thick, so good, but inside you they're small yet secure little men, then life's trials will crack any armor and get to the little person, and then a life catastrophe will come. So grow the inner man. He must first fill the outer one and then go beyond its boundaries. And then light will come from you, from him. Some people call it strong aura. And this light will help not only you, but also other people around you. If there are many of them, then the outer life will change too. In the end, our task is to correct the external situation around us at the expense of internal resources. And our inner man must be such as to illuminate the entire universe around us with our inner light and correct this world. First we correct ourselves, then we correct the world. This is quite possible. Moreover, this is our mission, so grow the inner man.